a 19-year-old soldier, blinded by his own blood and torn apart by AK-47 rounds, single-handedly held off an entire North Vietnamese company while his fellow Rangers lay dying around him. Doctors said he'd never run again. Instead, Michael Echanis became the man who revolutionized how America's deadliest warriors are forged, until his mysterious death at 27 silenced the legend forever. Picture this: November 16th, 1950, Nampa, Idaho. Born into a military family where service wasn't just expected, it was a way of life. Michael Dick Echanis grew up in what locals called a very pro-military community, surrounded by stories of honor, duty, and sacrifice. But here's where it gets personal. His cousin, Major Joseph Ignacio Echanis, was an Air Force aviator shot down over Laos in 1969, listed as missing in action. This wasn't just family history for young Michael. This was his calling. At just 18 years old, Michael made a decision that would define his entire life. He skipped his own high school graduation and enlisted in the Army on May 12, 1969. But here's the twist. When he discovered his Special Forces training would land him in Okinawa instead of Vietnam, he did something almost unthinkable. He voluntarily terminated his Special Forces qualification course, demanding immediate assignment to Vietnam. Why would someone throw away elite Special Forces training for a more dangerous assignment? The answer lies in what happened next. March 23, 1970. Specialist 4th Class Michael Echanis stepped off a plane in Vietnam, assigned to the legendary Charlie Rangers of the 75th Infantry. These weren't ordinary soldiers. They were elite scouts conducting the most dangerous reconnaissance missions along the Ho Chi Minh Trail in the Central Highlands. For exactly 1 month, Echanis lived the combat experience he desperately sought. Then came May 6, 1970, a date that would forever alter the course of military combat training. Picture a military truck winding through the treacherous An Khê Pass. 4 Rangers inside, including our 19-year-old hero. Suddenly, the jungle explodes with automatic weapons fire. A company-size element of North Vietnamese regulars had set the perfect ambush. But here's where Michael Echanis became legend. Within minutes, both drivers were badly wounded. The truck careened off the road, flipping onto its side in a ditch. AK-47 rounds shredded the air as Echanis leaped from the wreckage, immediately engaging the enemy despite being struck in his left foot. Then, something incredible happened. A bullet fragment ricocheted off his sunglasses, striking him between the eyes. Blood poured down his face, blinding him. Another round tore through his right foot, traveling up into his calf. A 4th bullet ripped across his forearm. Any rational person would have taken cover. Michael Echanis kept fighting. Company Executive Officer Ed Tolliver later recalled that Echanis was ultimately the only Ranger capable of returning fire, single-handedly holding off an entire NVA company until reinforcements arrived. His mother later described how close the enemy came. Even as the helicopter was arriving, the enemy was so close to him, he could have reached out and touched them. For his actions that day, Echanis received the Bronze Star with V device. But the real transformation was just beginning. Here's where our story takes an unexpected turn. The severe wounds from Vietnam left doctors with a grim prognosis. Michael Echanis would never run again. His military career was over before it really began. But what if I told you that instead of accepting defeat, this wounded warrior channeled his pain into something revolutionary? During rehabilitation, Echanis rediscovered martial arts with what observers called relentless, single-minded determination. But this wasn't about learning traditional dojo techniques. He cared only about one thing: effective, real-world, hand-to-hand combat. By 1975, he had attained his first Dan black belt in Hwarang Do, the Way of the Flowering Knights, a comprehensive Korean martial art. He became what one observer described as a holy terror on the martial arts circuit. But here's the kicker. He was developing something far more significant than personal skill. What happens when you combine ancient martial wisdom with modern military necessity? You get the Echanis Method. His training covered weapons, joint breaking, stalking, and techniques for making oneself invisible. But the real breakthrough was psychological. Echanis developed methodologies for training individuals to control their own minds under tremendous stress and how to overcome the negative workings of the psyche that can defeat a fighter as surely as an opponent